Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to get smart fast on something interesting. And today that something is, well, the weather in Indonesia. Now, you might be thinking, weather? Really? How deep can that be?
And that's actually a great place to start because our sources today, they're mostly lesson notes for like lower beginner Indonesian learners.
Okay.
But don't let that fool you. Even looking at these basic materials, you start to see some really fascinating stuff about the language, the culture, and just how Indonesians perceive their environment. It kind of shows how even simple language lessons can open up a whole world of understanding.
Right. So, okay, our mission then is basically to dig deeper than just, vocabulary lists.
Exactly.
We want to pull out the key bits for talking about Indonesian weather. The useful words, sure, but also maybe some of the grammar behind it, and really get a feel for the cultural context.
Let's do it. So the foundation, right,
Okay.
the basic words. We've got cuaca.
Cuaca.
That means weather. It's a noun, the thing itself. Then there's bagus, means good. Interestingly, it's what linguists call a stative verb, describes a state.
Ah, okay. Not an action.
Right. And hari for day, another noun, can't talk weather without talking about the day.
True. And then describing the weather itself.
Yeah, so mendung is cloudy. That's an adjective.
Mendem.
Hujan is rain. That's noun. Pretty universal concept.
Yeah.
Then ramalan, that means forecast, also a noun, super useful one.
Definitely need the forecast.
And looking ahead, besok is tomorrow. Another noun, helps place things in time.
Besok. Okay.
And for how it feels, you've got hang it for warm,
Hanga.
an adjective, and Sarah for sunny, also an adjective.
Okay, so those are the core building blocks.
Pretty much. And the notes actually give a little example dialogue between Daya and Putra. It helps see them in action.
Oh, cool. How does it go?
Well, Daya starts. Cuaca hari ni bagus, the weather today is good.
Simple enough.
Then Putra replies, tapi hari ini mendung, but today it's cloudy. See?
Yeah.
Using those basic words.
Right, a little contrast there.
Then Daya says, iya sih, tapi tidak panas dan tidak hujan. Yeah, right. But it's not hot and not raining.
So cloudy but comfortable, maybe?
Kind of, yeah. And Putra finishes with, Ramalan cuaca besok lebih bagus. Hangatan Sarah.
Ah, using the forecast word. The weather forecast for tomorrow is better, warm and sunny.
Exactly. It's short, but it shows you how those pieces fit together naturally.
It does. And you mentioned Ramalan, the forecast. That's an interesting one.
It is. So Ramalan Cuaca is weather forecast, but Ramalan itself just means forecast or prediction.
Okay.
And what's neat is the structure. It comes from the root verb ramal, which means to predict.
Ah.
And you add the suffix "n" to turn the verb, the action, into a noun, the thing, the prediction.
That's cool. It shows how the language works mechanically.
Totally. And the notes even give related examples like Ramalan Bintang.
Let me guess. Star prediction. Horoscope.
You got it. Horoscope. And Ramalan Keberuntungan.
Fortune tell.
Exactly. Shows the broader meaning. And they give us the key question. Bagaimana ramalan cuaca untuk besok? How's the forecast for tomorrow?
Very practical. Now, Putra also said lebih bagus for better.
Right. Lebih bagus. Literally more good. The word lebih just means more.
So lebih plus an adjective makes it comparative, like more sunny or more warm.
Generally, yeah. Lebih is your standard way to say more and make comparisons. Lebih bagus, more good, so better.
Okay, but then the notes make a distinction, right? between lebih bagus and lebih pagi.
Yes. This is a subtle but really useful point. Both mean better.
So what's the difference?
Well, the notes suggest lebih bagus is often used more for like tangible things, things you can see or touch, quality, appearance.
Okay. Like the example they give, gaun ini lebih bagus daripada yang itu. This dress is better than that one. You can see the dress.
Exactly. Whereas lebih baik tends to be used for more abstract things, conditions, situations, maybe someone's character or well-being.
Like their other example. Kamu lebih baik berolahraga agar sehat. You better exercise to be healthy. Exercising is better for your health, which is intangible.
Precisely. It's not a super strict rule,
Right.
but it's a tendency that adds a bit of nuance. Helps you sound more natural.
Definitely good to know. Okay, what about grammar for just stating the weather?
Right. So a really common thing, maybe the most common way, is super simple. Indonesians often just say the adjective. They skip the it is.
Really? So not it's hot, but just dust.
Just panas, hot, or dinging, cold, berangin, windy.
Wow, that's efficient.
It is. The context makes it clear you're talking about the weather or how it feels.
Okay.
Very direct.
But there's another way too, right? Using cuacanya.
Yeah, you can be more explicit. Cuacanya basically means the weather is, or its weather is. So you can say cuacanya plus the adjective.
Okay, like the examples. Cuacanya Sarah, the weather is sunny.
Or cuacanya bagus, it's good weather. Or the opposite, cuacanya buruk, it's bad weather.
And the question form would be bagaimana cuacanya?
Exactly. What's the weather like? Both ways work, but just stating the adjective is very common, very natural.
Good to know. And for the future, like Putra talking about tomorrow.
Also pretty straightforward. You usually just add a time marker at the beginning of the sentence.
Like besok for tomorrow.
Yep. Besok, or malam ini for tonight, lusa, day after tomorrow, minggu depan, next week. You put that first.
Okay. And then how do you say will be?
Often you'll use akan menjadi, which means will become or will be. Or sometimes akan ada, there will be.
Ah, okay. Like the examples here. Akan menjadi berkabut besok, it will be foggy tomorrow.
Or akan menjadi berangin besok pagi, windy tomorrow morning.
Akan menjadi mendung hari Sabtu, cloudy Saturday. Akan menjadi lembab malam ini, humid this evening.
And even for more significant events, akan ada angin topan minggu depan. There will be a typhoon next week.
Or akan tu hujan sore ini. It will be raining this afternoon using turun hujan for to rain.
Yeah, so you time marker first. Then often akan menjadi or akan ada or a specific verb like turun hujan. It's a clear structure.
Okay, that covers the language side pretty well. But the notes also touched on the bigger picture, the context in Indonesia.
Hugely important, yeah. The notes emphasize Indonesia's location, right on the equator.
Which means?
Consistently high temperatures, basically.
Right.
It doesn't vary like it does in, say, temperate zones. It's generally warm to hot year-round.
Right, and it's an archipelago. Lots of islands, lots of water.
Exactly. Thousands of islands. And being surrounded by water means high humidity. Always.
Always, even in the dry season.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a key point. You have the rainy season, typically October to April.
Okay.
And the dry season, May to September. But the humidity stays high in both.
Yeah.
It's just wetter rain in the rainy season, maybe.
Ah, right. But the notes also said the seasons are getting less reliable.
Yeah, that's a crucial update. Global warming is mentioned as making things unpredictable. Rain can happen anytime, really.
And that unpredictability combined with the rainfall itself, it has consequences, right?
Big time. The notes mention that Western Indonesia tends to get more rain overall, and heavy rainfall, especially prolonged, often leads to natural disasters.
Like landslides.
Landslides, yes, and very frequently floods, particularly in urban areas.
And that's not just inconvenient, it's linked to health issues.
Absolutely. The notes are clear on this. Flooding increases the risk of diseases like dengue fever, mosquito breeding grounds, also diarrhea, various skin diseases. It becomes a serious public health concern. It shows weather isn't just small talk. It directly impacts well-being.
Wow. Yeah, that really puts it in perspective.
And it connects to culture, too. The notes mention the importance of keeping waterways clean, like drains and canals, to prevent blockages that make flooding worse.
So there's a cultural emphasis on environmental cleanliness tied directly to mitigating these weather-related problems.
Exactly. It links individual actions, community infrastructure, and the impact of these large-scale weather patterns.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. We started with basic Indonesian weather words like Cuaca, Hujan, Sarah.
Learned how to make comparisons with Lady Bagus.
And got into the grammar, how you can just say panas for it's hot or use cuacanya.
And how to talk about the future using time words and phrases like akan menjadi.
But then, crucially, we connected it all back to Indonesia's reality. The equatorial heat, the constant humidity,
The distinct wet and dry seasons now becoming less distinct.
and the very real impacts of heavy rain, from floods to health crises, and even how that influences cultural practices around cleanliness.
It's a lot packed into just talking about the weather.
It really is. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about how we talk about weather where you are. How does your language reflect your climate and environment?
Yeah, how does it impact daily life? Maybe in ways you don't always consciously consider. It's fascinating when you start comparing.
Definitely something to ponder. Well, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for exploring Indonesian weather with us.
Indeed. Until next time.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.